Welcome to the Temple of Flame. On today, Faithful Acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Beach Shack Sauces, it is the Pineapple Mango Habanero. This is out of Port St. Lucie, Florida, I guess. Let your taste buds escape to the Caribbean. Shrimp, fresh chicken or pork, I guess. Sure. All right, we've got here vinegar, mangoes, pineapple, water, sugar, lime juice, fresh habanero. There's a comma before peppers. I don't know if fresh habanero and peppers are meant to go together or if there's a different pepper that's also in here. I would assume not, but maybe. Cilantro, salt in capital letters, and the salt does not seem crazy high. I'm not sure why it's in capital letters. Xanthan gum and sodium benzoate. So, yeah. You can see it's got a lot of particulates in there. In fact, why don't we get to the spoon? Sort of a light, almost a sand color, maybe a tan. Little bits of orange hues in there as well. I think the sauce looks pretty nice. Overall, it's not bad. It's not very... Sometimes the sauces like this will be very bright and vibrant. This one is definitely not. But, I mean, it looks fine. You got a little bit of the xanthan gum shake. Not too bad though. And let's just give her a whack here. There's something of an off flavor note here. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. It's just sort of odd. The sauce doesn't taste bad or anything. There's a bit of oddness. It might be with the lime and the cilantro, which tend to be very fresh sort of flavors, are interacting with this. Mango and pineapple, there's not a lot of... So both those two are fairly fibrous. There's not a lot of fibrous anything going on in here. So I'm a little curious how this came about. If it was strained first or what happened from there. It is an approach to this style. And so we got chicken tendies. These are called barely, or something like that, like barely coated or something like that. Very, very thin breading. So I saw these are new. And I wanted to try them to kind of get away from some of the heavy breaded ones that I've had before. I don't pull in a lot of mango or pineapple, I will say. This is more of a general tropical vibe with a sort of note of citrus to it. and note a citrus that I wish wasn't there. There might be like a garlic or possibly some other spice that's there that didn't make it to the ingredient label as well. Not 100% sure on that. But pineapple habanero and mango habanero are very well established sauce types. And if you check in my written review, I commented a bit about, you know, what I think is the way that you could approach styles like that are pretty well established. This one's kind of bright and in a way you wouldn't normally expect. Flavor is fine though. I'm not getting a bunch of habanero flavoring out of it either. Heat is pretty low. I'd say this is much more of a tropical habanero sauce, so they could have named it that, I guess. Tropical habanero. I really don't think the limes needed to be there. I am getting a lot of flashes of lime. Cilantro, probably not so much. Definitely lime, and I kind of wish it wasn't there. I think lime is one of the more overused fruits for me. That, in my view, is due to a couple things. One of those was a big explosion of the Mexican fast casual places, so Rubio's, Chipotle, Chevy's, that sort of thing. And the second is probably Corona. I think Corona really brought that to the fore, to the point where like Takis jumped in it as well. You know, lime is super popular. What if we do this sort of flavoring system only with lime? That surely makes it more authentically, at least Southwest, if not Mexican outright. Throwing that into it. This is kind of an odd sauce, and I really don't have a lot to say about this. Like I said in the review, I think when you're looking at established sauce types, and I did a pretty lengthy write-up on the blog if you're interested in my take on what are sauce types or sauce styles. You can just go to the blog and kind of read through that. But no matter what the sauce type is, if you're going to go to somewhere where the flavors are pretty well established, and if you look through the table of contents, you can see a lot of pineapple habaneros. You can see a lot of tropical type hot sauces. You can see a lot of mango habaneros. It's something I've covered pretty thoroughly. I like sweet hots. I like fruit-based sweet hots in particular as well. So I usually have a lot of those. And for me, if you're going to jump into one of those styles, I think there's two approaches that are the better ones to take. You can either do something in a similar vein as what everybody else is doing and do it way better, which we see sometimes, and it's great to see those. You know, it just raises the bar. Or you can get into that and try to push the envelope of it. Try to do something radically different than what everybody else is doing, but still within those boundaries. This one is, it's honestly kind of just another entry into that category for me. It doesn't really do, to me, adding, it's a fairly pedestrian sauce, but then adding lime to it, I don't think changes the dynamic particularly. More than anything else, it's just kind of, it's this style with an unwelcome ingredient, you know, an additional ingredient in it. And that approach, I don't know that you don't gain anything, I don't think, by putting lime in here. Lime and these fruits don't particularly go well together. It just winds up kind of being like an off-key note almost in the flavor profile. The sauce isn't bad though. I mean, I'll finish this out without a problem. I don't know that I would. In fact, I'm pretty sure I would never get this again. There's a lot better and more representative examples of this style out there that I would look more towards if I wanted this type of sauce. I mean, there's a number I haven't got to, of course, as well. So I don't tend to do a lot of repeats in the fruit-based sweet hots because that's a very vibrant, very vigorous, for lack of a better word, segment of the market. And most of the time I'm doing enough new stuff that I don't need to repeat anything like that. But I mean, there are some that I will happily pick up again, you know, if I see them as a deal or anything like that. So yeah, I think their approach to just kind of fit in with everything else is just kind of another one, is probably not going to help to differentiate them. And I think, especially, I haven't heard of Beach Shack before this. If you're a newer sauce company, I think that is something you definitely need to do. You either need to go way above everybody else, which this definitely doesn't do, or you need to do something radically different, which will differentiate you, like in the case of Angry Goat, for example, but may not necessarily translate into huge popularity. But there's something to be said for being unique and creative and inventive as well. Doing just another sauce where there's already a whole bunch of them kind of in that middle of the pack that everybody else is already doing. I don't think that's the approach that it's maybe the good move there, but if you're looking for a pineapple habanero or you're looking for a mango habanero, I can't really say this is representative of that style particularly, because most of those don't have lime in them, and especially not forward to the degree this one does. So if that's something that you might want to do, I would say to get something more representative of that style, and then if you want to start trying it with lime and, you know, that sort of thing, that would be, you could look to something like this. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think sauces like this are a bit of a challenge because they're just kind of in that okay-ish area. They're just kind of in that, you know, it's fine sort of area. And it's always a bit weird. You know, I always think it's a bit strange to be, you know, the whole concept of damning something with faint praise, but sometimes where they fit, and we'll just leave it there. So that was the Beach Shack Pineapple Mango Habanero Hot Sauce. Now go in peace to serve the flame.